Creating the perfect TV pilot is like setting the stage for a legendary battle. You've got one shot to capture the audience's attention and make them crave for more.
Well, that sounds suspiciously like good news, Lord Cornet.
But by studying the best scripts, we can uncover key elements that make a pilot truly exceptional.
One would hope so, considering the associated cost.
In this case, House of the Dragon stands as a masterpiece in pilot writing.
Perhaps you aren't ready to move on just yet.
This is House of the Dragon, ScreenplayWise. Every TV pilot needs to start with a bang, a strong opening scene often called teaser. It's your first impression, the moment where you grab your audience by the collar and say, pay attention.
And you are to do so without quarrel.
In House of the Dragon, the opening scene at the Great Council of Harrenhal does exactly that. The year is 101 after Aegon's conquest, and the question of succession is about to be decided. Will the Iron Throne go to Viserys Targaryen, or will it break tradition and name a woman, Rhaenys, as the heir? The stakes are immediately clear: tradition versus progress, male versus female, and more subtly, the seeds of the Targaryen civil war.
Rhaenys, a woman, would not inherit the Iron Throne.
The scene doesn't just set up the central conflict of succession, it taps into deeper themes of power, gender, and legacy that will resonate throughout the series. This is the moment that hooks you, because you know that this decision is going to come back to haunt everyone involved.
For he knew the cold truth. The only thing that could tear down the House of the Dragon was itself.
Before diving deep into any pilot, a writer must understand the core objectives they need to achieve, what I call the 7 goals of any TV pilot.
Whatever it is, it needs to be kept quiet.
As we mentioned, the first job of any pilot is to hook the audience. House of the Dragon does this by introducing a turning point right from the start. The choice of Viserys over Rhaenys. Number 2, the central plot's inciting incident. A common mistake in pilot writing is mixing up the inciting incident of the episode with that of the series. The pilot's inciting incident is what drives that episode forward, while the series' inciting incident is what ignites the overall story arc. In House of the Dragon, the pilot's inciting incident revolves around Daemon Targaryen, the king's brother, who will lose his condition as heir to the throne with the coming baby and the heirs tournament.
There's a boy in the Queen's belly.
An event that will also impact the life of Princess Rhaenyra, the king's only daughter.
And my heir will soon put all of this damnable hand-wringing to rest himself.
But the series' true inciting incident hits when Rhaenyra is unexpectedly named heir, flipping the script on what we and the characters thought was certain. This decision is the spark that lights the fire for the entire series.
Rhaenyra Targaryen, Princess of Dragonstone, and heir to the Iron Throne.
The third goal of a TV pilot is to introduce the main characters, establish their relationships, and hint at the inciting incidents of their individual storylines. In House of the Dragon, every relationship is strained by one burning question: who truly deserves to sit on the Iron Throne? Each character's answer to this question shapes their alliances, fuels their ambitions, and sows the seeds of conflict. Every pilot needs to establish the show's format, its genre, tone, and overall aesthetic. But beyond aesthetics, a writer must decide which kind of pilot they're creating: an origin pilot or a premise pilot. The origin pilot is an opening episode that starts a new story. There's an inciting incident that triggers a whole new story for the characters. The airplane crash in Lost, a global pandemic in The Last of Us, or a 9-year-old Beth discovering the game of chess in The Queen's Gambit. While the premise pilot is more like a typical episode, introducing the characters without a radical inciting incident that upsets the balance of their lives. Instead, it shows their life as it typically is. House of the Dragon is an origin pilot. It doesn't just introduce us to the characters, it ignites the major conflict of the series, with Rhaenyra being named heir, setting off the chain of events that will lead to civil war.
And the day grows ugly.
A well-crafted pilot not only introduces the protagonist, but also reveals their deepest wants and needs. In the beginning, Rhaenyra says she wants to be free from courtly duties, from the expectations of being a princess.
You're always like this when you're worried.
Like what?
Disagreeable. If you're worried, your father is about to overshadow you with a son.
I only worry for my mother. I hope for my father that he gets a son. As long as I can recall, it's all he's wanted.
You want him to have a son?
I want to fly with you on Dragonback, see the great wonders across the narrow sea and eat only cake.
I'm being serious.
I never just about cake.
You aren't worried about your position?
I like this position. It's quite comfortable. Where are you going?
Home. The hour has grown late.
Princess Nymeria led her Rhoynar across the narrow sea on 10,000 ships to flee their Valyrian pursuers. She took Lord Mors Martell of Dorne to husband and burned her own fleet off Sunspear to show her people that they were finished running.
What are you doing?
Do you remember?
If the Scepter sees this book,
Then the scepter.
Rhaenyra!
However, what she truly wants is her father's acknowledgement. Once Viserys names her his heir, it fulfills that, but creates a new want, the desire to prove herself worthy of the throne. This tension between want and her need of freedom will drive her character throughout the series. A great pilot also needs to set up the backstory that informs the character's motivations and the world they inhabit.
There are power man should never have trifled with.
And finally, any powerful pilot must introduce a moral dilemma, a situation where the character must choose between two undesirable outcomes. For King Viserys, this moment arrives in the midpoint of the pilot.
During a difficult birth, it sometimes becomes necessary for the father to make an impossible choice.
Well, speak it.
To sacrifice one or to lose them both.
This decision not only costs Viserys his wife, but leaves him haunted by guilt and sets the tone for his reign. A great pilot needs to end on a note that leaves the audience wanting more, and not every TV show managed to accomplish it. House of the Dragon ends with Rhaenyra being named heir to the Iron Throne, a decision that will reverberate throughout the Seven Kingdoms.
It's a really important scene for the pilot because obviously it's the thing upon which all the future drama in the show is going to turn on, the fact that Rhaenyra was named heir and supplanted Daemon.
But this isn't just a neat resolution or turning point, it's a cliffhanger in disguise. The naming of Rhaenyra as heir sets off a chain of events that we know will lead to bloodshed, betrayal, and war. The stakes couldn't be higher, and Viserys makes the final revelation, Aegon's dream.
They tell us that Aegon looked across the Blackwater from Dragonstone and saw a rich land ripe for the capture. But ambition alone is not what drove him to conquest. It was a dream. And just as Daenerys foresaw the end of Valyria, Aegon foresaw the end of the world of men. Just to begin with a terrible winter, gusting out of the distant north.
I, Rickon Stark, Lord of Winterfell.
Aegon saw absolute darkness riding on those winds, and whatever dwells within will destroy the world of the living. When this great winter comes, Rhaenyra, all of Westeros must stand against it. And if the world of men is to survive, a Targaryen must be seated on the Iron Throne. A king or queen, strong enough to unite the realm against the cold and the dark. Aegon called his dream the Song of Ice and Fire. This secret, it's been passed from king to heir since Aegon's time. Now you must promise to carry it and protect it. Promise me this, Rhaenyra. Promise me.
The House of the Dragon pilot excels in all the ways that matter. Its strong opening, character introductions, world building, and a cliffhanger ending that leaves us eager for more. It's a perfect example of how to write a compelling TV pilot. If you're writing a pilot, remember, hook your audience, set the stage, and leave them hungry for more.
Let's get on with it.
Thanks for watching ScreenplayWise, and make sure to hit the subscribe button if you're interested in upgrading your writing career.
Everyone says Targaryens are closer to gods than to men. But they say that because of our dragons. Without them, we're just like everyone else.